The report was commissioned to try and capture as much existing information as possible about early Victorian donor conception records for all people who were involved in the donor treatment at the time, but particularly for people who were born as a result of this early donor conception treatment. Already the information uncovered as a result of this research has affected more than 9 applications to the Victorian Register. And VARTA also has access to additional records, of course, for other clinics which will assist with applications. So I'd now like to invite Dr. Lauren Burns, who's a VARTA board member and a donor-conceived person, to discuss what this report means for donor-conceived people born before 1988.
Thanks, Kirsten. So I'd like to give a personal perspective to help interpret the history of donor conception records report. So I was conceived at Prince Henry's Hospital in 1983, the very same year that Emeritus Professor Waller's committee's report was released. So in 2007, I applied for non-identifying information that was contained within those records. And this is what I received. Donor code C11, height 5 foot 11 inches, hair colour fair, eye colour blue, weight 11.5 stone, and I will admit I had to Google this, it's 73 kilograms in modern measurements. Race, Caucasian. 5 facts. It wasn't much. It didn't tell me what sort of things made him laugh, or what countries his ancestors were from. It didn't tell me if we shared any common interests. It was words on a page, 2-dimensional and flat, black and white. It didn't describe the essence of a person. I was searching for something beyond facts, but at that point in time, I couldn't really describe what that was. So this is what the Prince Henry's records contained regarding my medical history. Nil. I did spend some time trying to decipher what the scratched out words said. This is what you often do, you find yourself doing as a donor-conceived person, trying to read between the lines of what is left unsaid. I thought I could make out bracket C-A-N-C. Was he trying to spell cancer? Why was it scratched out? At the time, I was in my early 20s, young and healthy, and to be honest, I wasn't really concerned about medical history. But it does matter. Many of you will know of Narelle Gretsch. Despite the limited information, I am forever grateful that records still existed linking C11 to a name. For me, the records were a porthole to connection, stories, and history. What makes us human? This was what I found valuable about my records, beyond those 5 facts. So, preservation of those records meant that I was able to meet Benedict Clark and his 3 children. Pictured here is Michael. And to get to know the person beyond those facts. He's broad-shouldered, hates wearing shoes, like myself, loves bushwalking and body surfing in the waves. I discovered a mirror. To borrow some words from my friend Miff, is talking to a stranger staring back at me with my own eyes. It's a very bizarre experience, and finding the source of much of my looks and personality and interests. So here's a picture of me with my half-sisters, Olivia and Charlotte. So Liv in the middle, she studied archaeology and loves playing AFL. And Charlotte studied law and international studies, and she loves horse riding. So over several years, this happened so I met Ben in 2009. So over several years, I got to know my extended family. This photo was taken last October in Vermont in the United States. It says in the middle, my Aunt Katerina, and then three cousins, Nick, Baz, and Anna Clark, who I think I look quite similar to. So Anna's a historian at University of Technology, Sydney, and like our grandfather, Manning Clark, who was also a famous historian and writer at the ANU. So I went searching for my family history and actually discovered a family of historians. So it was while staying with Nick, he told me some stories about the family home in Canberra. So I'm reliably informed that Bob Hawke used to drop by the house quite regularly, until one time Manning trounced him in table tennis, and apparently he refused to return for a rematch. So I collected stories like this, like beads on a necklace, and they made me feel a part of a story that was greater than my own life, a link in a chain that stretched back in time. And so I found out, so Manning's wife, Dymphna, her father was from Belgium and her mother was half Swedish and half Norwegian. So stories, as well as connection and stories, it all led back to history. So here's a photograph, Manning on the right in that iconic hat, his wife Dymphna, and all 6 kids and some of their partners and children. This was taken on a beach at a family property, which is a coastal farm on the New South Wales south coast. I actually recently just got back from spending a month up there, and to me it's one of the most beautiful places in the world and somewhere where I felt a real sense of connection and belonging. And so from Manning in the back, from right to left, there's Baz, Axel, Andrew, Ben, who's holding Tuppence, the dog, Roland and Katerina's seated on the bottom left. So Axel actually died before I had a chance to meet him. He died in 2001. But I recently did learn from Roland what his favourite joke was. So this is, do echidnas make love? Yes, but very carefully. So regrafting this historical consciousness has been a slow and sometimes difficult process, but these experiences beyond the facts have helped fill the blanks that was that loss that I couldn't name. So as you read in the report, and yes, a lot of the records are intact, but there are some which have been lost or redacted or destroyed. So you read about some being lost from Queen Victoria in 1987. I hope you'll imagine the loss of more than just papers and paperwork, but these connections and stories and history. If the Prince Henry's Hospital records didn't go to the Public Records Office and they'd gone into the bin, then all of these connections that I've just talked about could have been lost. So it's not covered in the report, but I'd just like to talk briefly about what I see as the ultimate donor records. These ones can't be lost or destroyed, and we always carry them with us. So it's DNA. So the emergence of DNA testing is rapidly transcending this lottery of whose records were kept, lost or destroyed. So I find that sometimes life has sort of these delicious ironic twists. So on behalf of all donor-conceived people, I'd like to thank Emeritus Professor Louis Waller for your foresight in chairing the committee. I think what you set in place is why we're one of the most advanced jurisdictions in the world, and thank you very deeply for that. Also to Associate Professors Fiona Kelly and Deborah Dempsey for your hard work in researching and compiling the report. It's a valuable record of the socio-legal history and record keeping in Victoria's 3 main clinics. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who agreed to be interviewed, including my mother, Barbara. I'm not sure where she is. Oh, there you are. And thank you for coming out tonight and for listening.
Thank you, Lauren.